That's some vibrato there.
Oh my goodness, we're slowly providing all the listeners with voice lessons, just very piecemeal, spread out over many podcast episodes.
That's what we do here. That's what we do here at the Grand Line Tourist. But that's not the only thing we do here, Jacob, because what's the other thing we do?
The other thing we do is we provide a chapter by chapter examining or re-examining of Eiichiro Oda's One Piece. I, Jacob Jarecki, am your tourist, and who are you, Eric? Who are you on the other side of this virtual internet podcast thing we're doing?
I am a maritime law student who is now converted into a full-time tour guide for this masterpiece by Mr. Ichiro Oda. So I will guide you through One Piece, which I'm hoping to do. At this point, you're 16 chapters in, so you're in it. Everybody who's listening,
you're in it.
Everybody's in it. Jacob's in it. It's too late. But yes, I am Eric Vu, the tour guide.
All right. We're just gonna get right into it today, and I will be. Occasionally I like to try to plan a day trip, get the itinerary going.
Yeah.
Today we are dealing with Chapter 16 versus Buggy's crew. I like that title. Just kind of tells you what's going on.
Yeah, it's very anime.
So let's see what we got going on here. We got Buggy and Cabaji are cowardly hiding behind their own crew's bodies, including the body of Richie the Lion.
Richie the Lion, which I didn't realize was the name, but that is the name of the lion.
Yeah, so they're hiding behind him because they're a little scared now after Luffy redeflected a buggy ball right back at them, right? Yeah. So that's going on. And this is again the reveal for a lot of different people that Luffy is a rubber man. Nami, Buggy, and Cabaji are all, kind of now in on it. They no more surprise attacks there. Buggy, then because he's upset at Mohi for not telling him about the fact that Luffy's a rubber man, just kind of chucks him. Just whoo. He should try. I give him some credit, but it wasn't. Buggy didn't give him any credit, right?
No.
Gets a nice solid kick from our buddy Luffy over there.
Yeah.
And then this is where the real fighting starts. Cabaji is challenged by Zoro. And he's a bit of a dirty fighter, this Cabaji. He kicks at Zoro's wounds in between doing, all sorts of crazy circus tricks and stuff, And how does Zoro respond to that, Eric? What's his response to getting kicked in his wounds?
He goes, "Is this what you're aiming for? Here, let me make it bigger for you."
Zoro
cuts it deeper. Also, he's kind of like, like, if you want a handicap, here, let me give you a bigger one because I'm gonna win regardless, sort of deal. Yeah, I mean that makes sense, right? He's like, are you gonna, like, this is what you want? You want a deeper handicap? Like, it doesn't matter. Here it is. So, our boy Zoro.
Zoro's a tough guy. I was that's not how I would have done it.
No, it's not where I thought I was gonna go either.
So how did you take this this chapter? How did you like the start of this fight between Cabaji and Zoro, and the fact that we actually don't get this is like I don't know if we've had one where the cut for the chapter is kind of in the fight in the middle. Maybe we have, probably, because some of the fights get pretty long. But it's kind of.
And this one kind of starts off. This one starts off in the style of the other one, right? Like the style's a little more.
And this
detailed.
one, it doesn't end in that style though. It switches in the middle.
Yeah,
it's interesting. You get different production panel art styles, depending on how far you are in this chapter, which is really really interesting to look at.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So I'm wondering if it was like a big spread or something for him, huh? Like maybe he came out because even the cover photo is kind of cool. Like the cover page for this chapter is kind of cool. Overall,
just curious, just to peg your opinion on that. I'm actually, because I think we've seen so much more of it now, I'm definitively in. I like the second half of this chapter when the art style switches back to what we're used to. Just because I think we've seen it so much.
Yeah.
Even though I know the first art style is kind of cool, it's kind of got the shading in, but I didn't know if you were the opposite on there. I'm definitely. I've kind of got into the world with that second art style now, and that's what I wind up preferring. I need to see the other one, but not my cup of tea anymore.
I think the more detailed shading and like obvious more or just a little more detail, I think it's just nice little it's like a treat. I'm gonna treat it like a treat.
Yeah, you don't want too much dessert. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
I want my main meal, in the other art style.
Yeah, I agree. So overall, just to answer your original question, I think this is a fun little intro into into the fights, because like I was telling you, there's always kind of like who's gonna fight who in every arc, and like because eventually like there's a opposite, like essentially this is setting up every time we see a sword bad guy. Well, we know who the sword bad guy is probably gonna end up fighting.
Good call there, yeah.
Right, so it's one of those things. But the big detail that I wanted to bring to our discussion table today, which is we're just gonna name it. It's the acrobat versus the swordsman. And notice how I don't call Cabaji a swordsman either. He's an acrobat. He's like literally just a circus man.
To be honest, he's a bit of everything, really. Like I had to admit, like to be able to do all that Cabaji does, maybe he's a little like more impressive than Zoro. But maybe there's something to be said about dedicating yourself to one craft. You know, master of all trades, jack of none. There's a phrase that goes like that. I don't know exactly how to say it. Apparently,
right. No, I think you're right there too. I think you're right on that. So I guess bringing up this point is the idea of how I was gonna say how first mates reflect their captains, but he's not actually a first mate. He's the second mate, I think. Cabaji is, but Zoro is the first mate. And this is kind of an interesting way of like, seeing what like. In my head, I kept thinking of the term work culture, but this is we'll call it the crew culture, like like the crew culture of these different pirate crews, which is the Buggy pirates versus Luffy pirates right now. So yeah, just breaking it down, Cabaji, he's an acrobat, so he will contort and he will use tricks and he fights dirty to win, regardless. Like he's not much of a swordsman. He calls himself one. But he's, like, not really. Like, he's doing not much sword play at all. A lot of, like...
I mean, he did have a sword that he pulled out of his stomach, so apparently that's on him at all times. So he's literally a bit of a sword man. But you're right. Maybe not the best swordsman. I'm with you there.
Yeah, the skill is not really there, right? So he kind of fights like that. And he does reflect Buggy, right? Because Buggy fights the same way. Like, Buggy has been the same. And he's very, like, we even saw in this chapter that they don't mind using other bodies of crew members, of their own crew, to protect themselves, right? Like, it's... Yeah. They don't care. They want to win. If you're in the way of winning, then you will be, like, you are just in the way. Then that's what happens to you. On the opposite end, we have Zolo, and we have Zoro, who's more like... Who's just like Luffy, they don't use trickery to win fights. They're going to fight through their skill, and that's what they kind of want. And I think I was thinking about it, and like in this whole fight, Zoro's kind of like pissed off at the guy, because the guy's not a swordsman. Like he's not fighting like a swordsman. He's not using swordplay. He's just using different things to kill you with the sword eventually. But I mean, he also could kill you with his unicycle.
Which I have to admit, pretty pro use of that unicycle.
Right, I think so too. But they call yourself a unicycle man. Like, you don't get to call yourself a swordsman, right? So it's kind of fun, kind of interesting to see those balances. Did you see any of, like, that reflected in this fight, or, like, what he's trying to get at least?
Oh, yeah. I think one thing that I actually had written down here that kind of ties into this is Luffy's expression during the fight, and also how there's a moment when Nami, like, says to Luffy, how can you stand there and watch your friend get killed, right? Yeah. And I think this reflects in that, like, sense of honor and, like, ritual and, like, the way a fight should be done honorably. Yeah. And, Luffy, I don't know, it's hard to judge Luffy's face sometime. In this instance, I thought he almost looked a little worried, but, like, in, like, a stern, like, I'm pretty sure my friend's got this, but there's no way I'm going to step in and ruin a fair fight, right? Yeah. So that's kind of where I saw it reflected, in the opposite side. The other side's fighting dirty. Luffy's side fighting real clean.
Yeah, honorably, right? Honorably. And like it's like two philosophical, literally crew cultures, like two different crew cultures, like battling each other right now for the idea of what piracy should be, right?
Who would have known that One Piece had such like like a modern reference to like our moderate corporate cultures reflected in the crew cultures of One Piece back in the day.
Heck yeah, man! Put that on a shirt. Someone make a shirt. Yeah, so that's kind of like the main thing I kind of want to chat about. I mean, like at one point, this guy, I was just looking at the chapter right now, like he blows fire at Zoro's face. Like, come on, dude. Like, what is this guy's deal? Like, what are you trying to do, man?
I don't think he knows what his deal is. He has so many deals.
Yes, he's just an all-in-one kind of act. I guess that's why the Buggy Pirates are so excited to see him fight, because they know they're gonna get a show at the very least.
Oh yeah. And one other thing that I just crossed my mind, the fact that Mohi, like immediately gets taken out in this chapter as well. You know, Mohi gets taken out. This is like the second time Mohi gets taken out. You know what? I think, you know, you were kind of saying that Cabaji is like, you were thinking almost mistook him as like the first mate. I don't know if your second mate is constantly unconscious, you know. You're practically the first mate then, right?
That's true. Yeah, like, because he just, I don't know, he gets thrown around so much. I feel bad for the guy too.
That was a little rough. And that kick from Luffy, oof.
I know. And then because Oda does such a good way of like building the momentum. Like you see Buggy throw him, and you see him fly, and then just the way he drew Luffy's contact is like, it's like watching a soccer player hit the ball so well, but this instead of soccer ball, it's Mohi's face. Getting wrecked.
Nasty.
Do you have any other notes or anything deep?
No, I think there's one thing I have written down that I want to bring up because it's not necessarily so specific to this chapter, but it's been on my mind for a little while, and it's I at some point I want to go and look at an original Japanese printing of a chapter just because I'm curious to compare the onomatopoeias and panels because they do a fantastic job of having English onomatopoeias in the panels look incredibly good. And I'm just thinking of how much work that must take. If you were, for instance, a manga that didn't have a lot of onomatopoeia in your background, it's probably far easier to do a translation of. But when you have something like, you know, the booms being separated by like cannon shots, right, and the way they kind of go, I can imagine that's really hard if those are originally Japanese characters placed throughout the frame and then they're, you know, later on translated to like stuff that works for English readers, right?
Yeah.
So no. At some point, I got it booked down to do a you know, just a little comparison there, and I'll bring back my thoughts on that because you know, it's been on my mind a little bit. So I just wanted to share that.
I'm curious about it. I'm pretty sure it is written in Japanese characters, like the onomatopoeias and stuff. So that means that someone has to go in there and digitally like remove them and add.
No, and that's tough. I mean, unless they, it all depends. You know, One Piece has been around a long time, so I imagine a lot of this didn't benefit from like digital technology. Like me and you right now, if we put our Photoshop heads together, we'd be like, oh, layers and just like drag, drop, paste. Yeah, no, it's probably a lot harder than that. So props to them. I just wanted to call it out for there. Yeah. You know, besides that, I'm actually I got a little fire in my belly, if you know what I mean. I got a little haha brewing. A little.
Oh, I thought you drink some milk because are you lactose intolerant? Was that like a That's where I was going with that. No? Okay. That's just me. I'm the lactose intolerant.
This was a horrible reference to the fact that, you know what, Eric, if you're ready, OP's got jokes, and I think we need to share some of the best ones from this chapter.
I mean, you can let me know if you want some lactate. I mean, I don't have any, but I know that some people, like, eat that or something before they drink milk. I don't.
No, I'm just going to eat my ice cream, and I'm just going to hate it.
Just let the burn happen. Yeah, let's get some laughs going. Okay. Would you like to take the first scoop of a joke?
Well, if my poop was shaped like a balloon, I would say that was the Gum Gum Balloon. And this is a reference to what Luffy says to Nami when she's asking him, like, what's going on? How is this working? And he just says, you know, basically all the information she already knew, and she's still completely confused.
Yeah.
That was the Gum Gum Balloon. And it doesn't help her at all. Yeah.
And she's like, what? But how did you do? Like, I know it was a balloon. I know that's what it's called. You just yelled it before you did it. Like, what? How are you able to do that? Was the question. I also had that joke down, too.
I like it a little bit, too, because maybe the words are somehow tied to what Luffy can do. I don't think it doesn't hold up, I think, with other moments in the manga where Luffy does stretchy like things without making such a call out, but maybe it only literally works if he says Gum Gum Balloon, and he's like, that's how I did it. I said Gum Gum Balloon, and then bah, you know. So
yeah, they have this thing I've noticed in a few other mangas and like animes too about like people who are really just instinctual and like really typically lead characters who are kind of dumb but very good at specific things. It must be like a running joke that they don't know how to describe how they do things. They just do things. Right? Yeah. Like they talk in zooms and onomatopoeias and woofs and whoops and then like that's what this guy's doing. Like that's obviously what Luffy's saying. That's the Gum Gum Balloon. Like I don't. What do you mean? What did I do? That's what I did. I did a balloon. I'm the man.
So what about you? Carry us on with another laughing moment, another moment of intolerance, if you will.
Yes, I got you there. The only other one is this really small visual gag, but Mohi wakes up. Mohi's like, "What you do to Richie, Cabaji?" And he's like, "You know what I did." In that panel, you can see Richie being really upset by hiding behind a wall behind Mohi, which I thought is really funny in that joke. It's just a really funny visual gag of him, of poor Richie being like, "Yeah, what you do to me?" Also, it just made me. I think I laughed at it because I remember a few chapters ago you thought that Richie was dead.
Yeah.
I mean, no, he's not.
This is it. This is our reveal right here. Richie makes an expression on his lion face, and now we know he's alive. But we were all worried. I didn't know he was being hung up in the air by his friend, and I was like, I mean, not by his friend, but by the second mate. And you know, I didn't know he was alive not until the expression came out. So this is a relief for everyone out there that was worried, like I was. You know,
and
our tour guide was telling the truth.
And I don't remember what happens to Mohi, but I have a feeling like he might be done with this crew because his captain threw him. His second mate used his lion as a target, like, or as a shield. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't remember what happens, but I feel like he might, like...
You're evil, my friend. You're an evil tour guide because I did not have a tinfoil time for this chapter, but now I do. Mohi's gonna either... You know, I should be strong and say eventually... No, you know what? Mohi, long term, winds up on Luffy's crew.
Long term, man. These tinfoil times.
I feel like short term, Mohi's gonna find a different crew, do some training, become really impressive, and then at one point he's gonna be fed up with the crew he's on and join Luffy. So that's
he just didn't mesh
tinfoil,
well with
unexpected tinfoil time for today.
Yeah, I mean, like,
but I feel like you led me to that though, so I don't know if I should trust it really.
I did. It's because I was talking about crew culture, and like he's not meshing with the Buggy crew culture anymore. Like, obviously,
no, it's just not for him. If you are in a job and the culture doesn't fit, it
never works out, man. If you feel it, that's some tips, ladies and gentlemen, kids, for the kids out there applying for jobs. If the crew culture is not meshing with you, it's not going to change.
Yeah, marine law is just a little too broy, a little too strange. You ditch out, you become a tour guide.
Yeah. That's my story. Everybody believe that. Okay, let's do some fighting. Let's do some actual fighting. Let's do some artistic fights. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
Okay, why don't you? In typical form, I have yet to screenshot my panel. So why don't you give a little spiel about our panel battle here to our listeners?
All right, this is the panel battle, the moment in the podcast where Eric and I take our two favorite panels. And when I say two, might get a little confusing. We're each taking one for a total of two. It's entertaining to listen to me do math because they're going to go head-to-head against each other, and we're going to discuss why each of them appeals to us and why we think they're clearly better than the other. But it doesn't stop there, dear tourists and tour guides out there yourselves. You can, drop us a line. And by drop us a line, I mean send us electronic mail at grandlinetourist@gmail.com. That's right. We have an email address set up just for you so you can, like some other listeners out there, send us your favorite panel. Let us know for the upcoming episodes or for an episode that really spoke to you. We're excited to throw you into the mix. Now, Eric, have you found your panel? Is it screenshotted and ready?
I have. But I messed up my screenshot. Nobody listens to this. Everybody fast forward. Everybody fast forward. No, everybody fast forward. Don't go fast too far. Don't go too far away. Okay, got it. Done.
Fast forward the right amount.
Time. You can tell I took improv classes because that vamping.
Yeah, I mean,
it's so good. It was so good.
In fact, they probably just let you vamp for, they just give you vamping time. They build it into the show because they're like, oh, Eric needs some vamping time. That's what everyone's here for.
All right, it is posted.
All right, this is a panel of Zoro, one sword in his teeth, other sword being held by actually his thumb and two of the fingers of his. Oh man, I can't invert that in my head to tell you which hand it is, but he is saying while holding this sword with his bloodied hand, now I'll show you some real sword play. Oh, and I read it out of order because I was thinking left to right. I get, I'm a tourist. I'm new here. Oh man, this is the worst moment. I know. 16 chapters in, and I'm reading the sentences backwards. No, okay. Is that enough of a handicap for you? Chunk. Now I'll show you some real sword play. And so this is Zoro kind of revealing what his motive was as he, slashed his own wound and, given like pretty intimidating death stare right back at Cabaji. Very impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I really like this panel just simply because, like, I don't know. He's so cool. Zoro's are so cool. Like, he already has, like, this is what I'm gonna do. Here, it's deeper now. He's goading. He's like, come at me, bro. What you got? If all you got is fire, like, you like weird fire tricks and kicking me in my wound, then I can't lose now, right? Like, look how big my wound is. I can't lose. It's cool. It's a big testament to, like, oh, Zoro's trying to be cool.
What do you actually think of the grip on this sword that's bloodied with his hand? He's got like 2 fingers off of it. It's his pointer finger and his middle finger, I think. Do you know why he's doing that?
Because he just put the sword back into his mouth.
Oh my goodness! I love that detail. So
yeah.
Oh, this is so good. No, I feel like I should concede the fight. This is such a cool little detail. So the sword that's in his mouth now, he had to lift it to his mouth somehow, and that's the 2 fingers that are, currently slightly off the hilt of the other sword that he's carrying. Because we know it gets a little tough when you have 3 swords in 2 hands. Oh,
isn't that cool?
It is cool. All right, I'm gonna put my panel.
Don't be sad. Don't be sad. Let me see it, man. It's fine.
There's the panel. It's the panel all the way on the right.
Oh yeah, you should be a little sad.
Oh no!
Okay, you're talking about the one where we have a panel of Zoro screaming in pain, yeah?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, he's screaming in pain. He's saying, screaming. There's big action line details. This is right after Cabaji like blows fire in his face and then kicks him in the moon, which sucks. And also, like, come on. And then afterwards, Cabaji is like, "Oh, I didn't know I kicked that hard." I don't know if that's how he sounds, but that's how he should sound because he sounds like a jerk. Yeah, man. I mean, it's a cool panel.
Oh. When you said those action lines, so those are kind of all emanating from, like, I think, like, the center of Zoro's like clenched forehead, kind of going in all directions. I think I have a thing for characters showing resilience in the middle of a fight. So this is just like, intense pain, but Zoro's gonna fight through it. I feel like I should start a Twitter account that just shows different tongues from One Piece, because tongues become so cool and weird in these exasperated poses. Like, they look like, I don't know, like a bowl of jelly, or like a weird oblong circle when you open your mouth really big.
This is all Jacob. Maybe this should just be Jacob's tongue corner or something, dude. Like, what? No. You're the only one I've ever known who really pointed that stuff out, and now I can't. You gotta notice
it, man. Like, okay, now from now on, every time you see a character with a open mouth, this isn't the like quintessential one. There's one that when they're staring direct to camera and they're a little more angry and their jaws are really big, and then you can see like the teeth make a U on the top and the bottom. That's the more common one. This is like a slightly offset version of that. Still very cool. I like the moment of resilience. But yeah, I'm not weird. You're weird.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it that we kind of have for this chapter, don't you think?
Do you want a tip or not, Eric, for this today's journey?
No, please save all tips. Please save all tips for the end of the run. So, 1,050 plus chapters, maybe 1,200 chapters. I don't know. He's still going. You can give me a tip then.
All right.
I don't know. I was trying
pennies.
to figure out what sound to do. Let's do the sound of like of a squeaky unicycle.
Oh, okie doke. I'll start it off and you can get it going.
Okay.